Okay, so imagine that you're the only person that can speak the language of your parents, the language that you learned as a young person, the language that your grandparents spoke, that your brothers and sisters spoke. Imagine that you've moved, that you've lived long enough to be in a world where that language has been forgotten by pretty much everyone else, and you have to speak some other language, someone else's language, to communicate with others. Thus it is with Samyet Jolik, and I, of the Thai Kamyang community in northeast India. I met him for the first time in 1999, and he was the last person in that community that could tell the traditional stories, that could sing the traditional songs, that could tell us about the traditional practices of agriculture, the traditional practices of healing, and the last one who could read the traditional books. Why, might you ask, is it important to be able to speak in your own language? Well, actually, different languages talk in different ways. Not only do they represent the way that human diversity, human linguistic diversity has evolved over many thousands of years and tell us a lot about the different possibilities of our brain, but they talk about things in different ways. Take, for example, kinship, talking about your relatives. So in his language, there's a different word for your father's sister from your mother's sister, and there's a different word for your mother's elder sister from your mother's younger sister. And there are different words for their children because they are different relationships. You can't translate aunt into that language. Google Translate can't help you. And there's also other differences. There's grammatical differences. So they don't have the problem with he and she. We have to say, once upon a time, a girl went into the forest and she collected fruit. They don't need that she. They simply say, in their own words, long ago, a girl went into the forest, collected fruit. Except he wouldn't say it, he'd sing it. He'd sing it in their traditional style. And also they had something called tones. This is where you use the pitch of words and some other features to indicate meaning differences. So, na means to quarrel. Na means a paddy field. Na means your face. Na means your mother's younger sister, not the elder sister, the younger sister. Na means to melt away, and na means thick. And those words are as different from each other as mat and nat, or pat and bat are to us. So we have this amazing linguistic diversity, around 6,000 to 7,000 languages, and most of them are being lost. They have few speakers. They don't have writing. They haven't been adequately recorded. For many languages, we have less information about them than is contained in a single English feature film. So what am I doing about this for the last generation? I've been doing what is called language documentation. Going to the village, staying in his house. I well remember the first night in his house. He set up a bed next to the fireplace in the guest living room, brought his bedding out of his room and set up next to me and said, "I'll sleep next to you in case you get lonely in the night." And I recorded him. I recorded him telling stories. I recorded him singing songs. I recorded him giving the knowledge of his language, his superior knowledge about traditional rituals, calling the spirit of rice, and his expertise in reading books. You'll see at the bottom there the script of this community. I made this computer font so that people could type the script and we could make books out of it, bringing the script into the modern language. But he was actually the last one in that community who could really read the books properly. He was a person who wanted to know about the world that he was in. He didn't just want it to be me asking him questions. He would sit me down at night after we'd done a lot of work and say, "Tell me what it's really like living in Australia. What do you do in the evening? How do you get to work? What do you do?" And he was particularly taken, I hope you can see in this photo, with my electric razor, which I have abandoned subsequently because there were just too many power cuts in northeast India. But he really wanted to try it out. And so I put this photo here because it's an example of the exchange that is an important part of this. So the last time that I saw him was on the 13th of December 2014, on the morning of the day that he died. He was lying there, his family were waiting with him. He kind of woke up a little bit, we chatted a little while, and he died that evening. He has gone and all of his knowledge is no longer with us, but the recordings that he made, I have archived them, I have analysed them, I have studied them, I have translated them, and they remain. So something of his memory is with us. Thank you.